Aboard the Kilcullen Voyager. She's 60 feet long. She's very strong. She's a bit like the hull of an aeroplane, but yet very, very light. So this is where I'm going to be living for the next 3 or 4 months. And I'd like you now to come on board and have a little look around this ocean racing machine. It's a machine. It's my home. It's like a caravan that you move around the world. It's my life. It's how I survive. It's everything to me. So I invite you now to come on board my home for the next 3 months. The most obvious part is the rudder. This is how I steer the boat. So there's an extension so you can sit out or in, and that controls the direction of the boat. But a lot of the time I have an automatic pilot, so I have some magical equipment down below which linked to the satellite, which is linked to the wind on top of the mast, and that then will steer the boat itself. And then the next item here is for controlling the sails. So this is for putting the mast up and the mast down. So it's highly geared. There's all the mechanics down below underneath. So what you do is you wrap the rope around. This is what they call the winch, or the wench. And when you put that on, that's a self-tailing, which means you can do it on your own. So I've lots of ropes to wind. So there's about 70 or 80 different ropes, all controlling different parts of the boat. So that's how that works there. Now, moving forward in the boat, these are cleats that control the lines, so stop lines from running out. So each has a function: mainstay, tack lines, halyards, jib out, and these are all the controls here for adjusting the way you put the mast up, the way you put the sails up, the way you put the sails down, adjusting everything. And then you see some pictures in the background. I have 4 children and there's 4 kids jumping in the air there, so that's a little bit of moving through the boat as we walk around and move up on deck. I always think that poetry, you may hate it in school, but it uses language very well. And the poem here: I have spread my dreams under your feet, tread softly because you tread on my dreams. W.B. Yeats, a great Irish poet. And I think that's a lovely connection. This is my dream. This is my dream boat to sail around the world on. You can see all the lines on deck. Each controls a different aspect of the sails. So like in a car, you change gear to go faster or slower. In a boat, you'll change gear and you'll reef and adjust the sails. So walking forward, it's all very quiet now because we're in harbour. We've no sails up, so it's a very good time to actually show you the boat. This is the mast here, the base of the mast. The mast goes 110 feet in the air. If you could imagine 3 double-decker buses, one on top of the other, goes all the way up, 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 up. Can you imagine have to climb that, which sometimes I may have to do in a bad weather or if there's something wrong. So these are all the controls of the mast, and they work the sails. Now here, these black things, these are what they call dagger boards. When you're trying to sail into the wind, you put them down and they stop you from slipping sideways, so that you can sail. You cannot sail into the wind, but what you sail is at an angle, you tack up into the wind. So when you're sailing at an angle into the wind, you put these big dagger boards down, they catch the water and they stop you from slipping sideways. Moving forward here, this is a satellite dome. This is where I'll be able to communicate and send messages from the boat to you if you want to follow our progress, and to anybody else, and it's also very good for safety. And down below here, we can go down below a little later, is the hatch. Now up through here all of our sails come, and the sails, We have 10, we're restricted to 10 sails, and you would put different sails on for different wind conditions. These are some of the sails on deck here. They've already been carried up. If you see, they're stored nice and neatly in bags. Now walking forward on the boat, this is a way to control the sails when you want to roll them up when you're not using them. It's a self-tailing system. And then moving forward, right up on the front of the boat, this is what they call the bowsprit. And that's for when the weather is very light or you're going downwind and you want to get the sails right out in front of the boat. So here we are now. We started at the very back and we've walked 60 feet up right to the front of the boat. So if you look back, it gives you a sense of the perspective. If you look back there on the boat, turn around. And I'll walk down now. If you see, it's very aerodynamically shaped and it's very, very streamlined. It's designed so that you're going into the big waves that you can punch into the waves and take off over them. So walking back on the boat, if you look up there, you can see the radar, and the radar picks out ships in case you get run down at night time. I have a little alarm that will pick up other ships, which is a very good safety feature because you cannot see everything all the time. So I rely on my instruments. Moving back on the boat, these are the sheets that adjust the sails, all specially woven. So there's a lot of skills in rope work in making all that come in together. It's all custom made, it's all specially made for this boat. You cannot go into a shop and buy that, you have to make it yourself. And that's the thing about this is, you know, they're not made in factories, you have to actually make it yourself to make it work for the boat. And these are spare battens, these black things on the deck, so if we have damage to the battens and the sails, we can fix them. And you can see along here, these are called life safety rails. These are protection and I can hook myself on here to stop myself from falling overboard. And of course, very important again is my portrait. So the C, this not green sea, the scrotum tightening sea. That's some words from James Joyce in Ulysses. And when you do look out in the sea, sure enough, it can be snot green. It's ugly, isn't it? And it can be green. So James Joyce was very concise. He made up his own words. Scrotum tightening sea. That word, I think, doesn't exist, but he made it up. And you can be creative too in making things up in the English language. So moving back on the boat, this is what they call the main sheet. The main sheet adjusts the mainsail. We call ropes on boats sheets. I don't know why. You think of sheets in the bed, but we call ropes on boats sheets. And these are all the blocks and the controls that work the different angles on the sheets. Now the amazing thing about this boat is this, I'm like Formula 1 race car driver, but I'm on the ocean. You're using natural energy. You're not making a lot of noise. You're using the wind, you're using the energy of the ocean, and you're going along naturally. So that's the huge difference between this and a Formula 1 car, but it's the same principle, and I'm the driver of the car.